It's the Wednesday after the Masters. Scottie Scheffler just won his first major, and the man is on fire. I love watching golf. I don't know about you guys. When I grew up, my father would be watching it every Sunday afternoon, and I was big into soccer, big into basketball, stuff like that. And I would run around out there, and I'd come in and get a drink of water. I'm like, what are you doing watching golf? That's the most boring thing I could think of. I'm like 12 at the time or something. My dad never played golf, but he had a respect for watching the game and still does. Um, but man, it was time after time we'd watch, Tiger win another one. And I'd look in and be like, oh yeah, won again, whatever. But I never actually sat down and followed any of it. But it was just so exciting to me to see Tiger out there this weekend. I uh, I didn't watch him a lot growing up just because I wasn't into golf. I really just started playing and watching in the past couple of years. My cousin Jordan got me into it. But just seeing Tiger out there limping around and doing everything he could, he really wasn't limping that bad, but he had to be hurting for sure. But it was just so fun to see him come out on Thursday and go under for the day. And at that point, I knew he had a chance of making that cut. I mean, compared to the rest of the field, I think he was like 10th place out of the first day. Um, and then after that, he didn't have a great day Friday, but Friday, he was one over at the end of the day, and then really Saturday's what hurt him. I mean, I think all that walking, he, I just every time he'd hit a shot, he'd have a decent drive, and on a par four, every time he hit it up there, it seemed like he was just like 10 yards short a lot of times. And I felt like he was used to hitting certain club in, and just the situation he is in right now, he didn't have the stamina to do so. But anyway, yeah, it was good to see him do fairly well. I don't know what he wound up finishing in. I guess it was like 40 or 27 or something like that. But anyway, it was just such a treat to see him back out there trying again. I'd love to see him, um, go at it and see, if he can be competitive in the next year. But who knows? I was listening to No Laying Up podcast today, and they were talking about getting Tiger involved. Does he have a chance of winning anything else, throughout the year? What are the odds and everything? And it's one of those things where you never know. Like, if he could string a couple, if his stamina's there, and he can string a couple decent rounds like Thursday together, it's always a possibility. But I mean, there's just so much talent out there. Scottie. I mean, what can I say? The man, no one expected him to do this well. I mean, he's been on fire, and really ever since the Ryder Cup, they're like, oh yeah, the Ryder Cup. They're like, why would they involve Scottie in something like that? Um, but he was paired up with Bryson. I thought he played fairly well with him back in the Ryder Cup, and ever since then, the man has been dialed. I mean, he's not flashy. There's nothing about his game that is overly great as far as like entertainment wise goes. But man, his chips around the green is he was looking at good putts, hole after hole. He never was, trying to really save himself in any situation. Like, I mean, he's saving with the wedge, but you kind of get what I'm getting at. I mean, he was playing pretty good around the greens, and I really think that's what helped tremendously. Cameron Smith, he was really doing well on Sunday. He kind of, he didn't do as well, but through Saturday, I mean, the man was dropping balls like real close to the pin and playing real aggressive, and he couldn't make it happen. But I mean, he definitely had a chance at catching Scottie, but Scottie just Sunday he was pretty cool. Obviously the end at the four putt on the the green on the 18th. Good thing he had such a lead because that was a little rough to watch. But hey, that's like a typical day of me on the course. So I can't really talk too much crap here about that. But yeah, I mean, what a weekend, what a fun thing to watch. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to the upcoming season for sure. I mean, it gets more and more interesting. Um, I wonder if Morikawa and Rory, that was just such a cool thing seeing them chip out of the bunker on 18 and knocking them in two in a row. I want to see how well those two go how will they do going forward. But I don't know about those two. I mean, Rory has some flashes of brilliance, and I mean he shot one off the course record, which was insane. I couldn't believe how well he did on Sunday, and I was like, how I saw him creeping up on the leaderboard. And I was like, he's not even close. Like, I was like, wasn't he way far back? And he just shot such a great round on Sunday. And that's a flash of him in the past, I mean, really, if he strung two decent rounds like that, he was up there. I mean, he would have had a real good shot at Scottie, especially the way he had finished up. But yeah, it just didn't happen. But anyway, so I haven't officially introduced myself. My name is Ben Weaver. I'm trying to get a podcast started, and I'm a big time golf fan. I live in the PA, Maryland area, and play a lot of golf around here. I got into it 3 years ago because my cousin Jordan that I had mentioned earlier, he's like, hey, let's go to the range. And I'm like, I might have swung a couple golf clubs in the backyard a few times. When I was younger, I'd grab like some of my dad's set and maybe hit it a little around, and he's like, what are you doing? He basically explained to me, like, if I got a hold of that ball, I could be taking out the neighbor's window. And I'm like, I'd only played putt-putt at that point, so I'm like, what do you mean? It's just a golf ball. You only like hit it a little bit. And I didn't really understand the game at all. I probably was like 8 or 9 years old, and he's like, what are you thinking? You're about to take out a window. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. But like I said earlier, I've never played any of that, any golf when I was younger at all, to the extent of putt putt. But my cousin invited me out on the range, and we had done a lot of fishing, and it was just one of them things where we had time, and I was like, yeah, sure, why not? So I didn't have any money at all. I just started working, and we're like, all right, sure, we'll go out. So we went to Diamond Ridge in the Baltimore area, and we wound up hitting the range there, and I had a blast. I was like, man, this is really fun. Like, I was obviously terrible, but I felt like it was just fun to smack that driver as hard as we could, like as anybody that's getting into it, and the irons, obviously, like I getting new into it. It's like, what's the point of these things? Getting into it, it's like, why would you even use these? And now it's like, man, I love my iron play. That's the most fun. To me, my favorite part about playing golf is, hitting a decent drive and getting on in regulation. Like, really, even if I don't hit well off the tee, my favorite part is just seeing that ball stop on that green nice and pretty. Like, that's my favorite part. Obviously, sinking long putts and everything's fun too, but to me, like, what I really enjoy is just taking that iron shot. And it might be just because I'm good at it. I got a new set of Callaway Rogues that I'm loving, and I'm starting to feel real dialed with, and I think that's taking my game to another level. I have been using some Adams clubs that my uncle gave me that are like the old man flex. I mean, it doesn't matter what you use, but I couldn't get a lot of distance out of it. It felt like, and you know, it was good. It was my first decent set, and before that it was yard sales and Goodwills and whatever my cousin Jordan had extra. But I definitely want to get him on the podcast and get his take of having me, bringing me along. And he had played with one other friend a few times and been to the range a few times. Um, at that point, but I had nothing except for just a little bit of athletic experience in some other areas with like basketball, lacrosse, and soccer, but never played baseball, lacrosse. I mean, I don't really consider that even close. I did dabble in hockey a little bit, so it might translate a touch. But anyway, one of the stories I have about Jordan was, he had got me into it, and he was better than me. I think my first actual round of golf was at Willow Springs out in Ellersburg, Maryland, and it's not even like a full course. It's par threes and par fours, 18 holes, but I think it's like a par 66 or something wild like that, or I don't know, but pardon the drinking. It was just it was fun. That group of guys. I had my brother, my friend Noah and Jared, and it was Jordan. It was five of us. We didn't know, but they were like, "Oh, sure, whatever." And it was like $20 to play, maybe 20, 25. This is probably 2018, I think. It might have been the first time playing, maybe 2019, and yeah, 2019 sounds right. But anyway, that was like first time playing. And Jordan, I think he got me. I was, shanking him 5 feet every time and didn't know what to do. But man, I just got the itch. You hit a couple decent shots when you're out there, and it's like it gets you coming back. And anybody that's played, they know how that is for sure. So, but it was so cool being out there, and you hit a couple on the green, you get a hold of one or two, and that's all it takes. But I think you get a new respect for the game for sure. It's frustrating, but it's also I love something where it challenges you, and I think that's one thing that's so attractive about golf to me because it's you in the game. Your buddy's score doesn't really matter. I mean, it's fun going one on one, but the truth is like. It's always against you. You're the only other opponent on the field, and yeah. So golf, I pretty much have been addicted ever since. It didn't take long, probably a few rounds later of playing with my cousin Jordan, and I was beating him, but we'd go back and forth, and I just have played a lot more than him. He's moved to New York since, and he doesn't get out as much as I do. But it was definitely it was back and forth with me and him for a little while, and then I eventually got a little bit ahead of him, and then eventually started. I remember when I first broke 100, and we didn't take any lessons. Like anybody out there that's listening that has never played or wants to get into it, it's like, dude, I know it seems like a lot of money, and it's just a golf ball, but man, get those basics down from a professional. I'm not saying I don't even think you should go out and buy clubs and go all fancy. At least get a set of junk clubs, whatever, Goodwill, hand-me-downs, but go to an instructor so you're learning, and then he can recommend what fits you best. If you were to try, if you really do like it, want to get into it, but I wouldn't. Yeah, I mean that's the route I would go for sure. If I could run it back, I would have, grabbed that set, put my set together, but I would have immediately went to an instructor. And, over time, I've developed bad habits that I'm sure would take a while to get out of it. But I think that's something that I just get used to playing a certain way, and it's something that you should really consider when you're getting into it to, get somebody to teach you the right way, and get the the proper equipment too when you can afford it. But I all that. You need to be starting off with the right stuff, the best you can. So that'll make a huge difference and help you excel a lot quicker. Because really, for me, a lot of it was proper equipment. After I developed a halfway decent swing, proper equipment had dropped my game a lot. But then it gets to a point where it's not the equipment. You can slap anything in there and throw anything in that bag, but it's really you at the end of the day. But yeah, so I'm looking to put out a couple of these podcasts where I can. Just talk about golf stories, and I have all kinds of family and friends. Where I mean, we all, I'm sure anyone that's out there that's played enough that where you getting stories of your buddies getting into golf, and uncles and all kinds of crazy stories, friends, buddies. But one thing I love about golf is it's it's one of them things where it's like fishing or hunting or you know I guess walking, whatever, something that's just relaxing that clears your mind. And sometimes it's not because it's not going well, but between shots you're coasting on the cart and it's just the scenery. I mean, you can't beat it. Like I just enjoy the relaxing aspect of it, and also just the time to catch up with friends and people that you don't see. And there's a lot of opportunities to meet a lot of cool people. I think for me, like some of my favorite outings playing golf is just getting paired up with random people. Sometimes it sucks. Sometimes you get paired with people that are a real drag, and then I've met really cool people that I still talk to. You know, every couple of weeks, I hear from them. I've had business things, and initially getting into it, I was like, oh yeah, one day I'm going to use this all for business. That's what I want to do. But yeah, I love the game, and this is just kind of introduction. I think I'm gonna probably title this a Masters recap, but this is also an introduction to just my passion for golf, and just seeing where everything takes it. I'm gonna try to have some friends and some other people on just to add to it. I can think I got my buddy Seth just started playing, and I got him out. He was peeling the plastic on the club, so it'd be cool to get his take on some things, and some of the other guys that I play with, just some stories and some good times. But anyway, thanks for listening. If you made it this far, I really do appreciate it. I'm looking to pump out some podcasts, and please give it a share if you have liked it. And if there's any tips, any items that you would like me to talk about, any suggestions, I would love to address any of that, and get your take on anything golf. But remember, always get out there, and don't expect to ever break par anytime soon. All right.